as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Tony and I'm here with Matt. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcasts by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
Bear with me here, guys. New things here. Trying to find where okay. Yeah. See what happened. Maybe this is the forms. I don't know. Try to do this here.
Do you need me to take over for a minute?
Yeah, feel free to do the first part.
Absolutely. So what will spring be like in Missouri? We see how 2026 forecasts compare from the Springfield News-Leader and Ahmed Jawadi here. After a relatively eventful winter this year, some Missourians might be wondering when it will ever warm up. Luckily, spring is right around the corner, and soon we'll be able to take a stroll in the park and watch the flowers as they begin to bloom once more. Multiple weather forecasters have come out with their predictions for what spring might look like this year, including the National Weather Service, AccuWeather, Farmer's Almanac, and Old Farmer's Almanac. Here's what the 4 forecasts predict for the 2026 spring season in Missouri. Spring officially begins in March, though the exact date depends on whether you follow the meteorological or the astrological seasons. For meteorological seasons, they're broken down into 4 groupings of 3 months, with March 1st marking the start of spring every year. But, astronomically speaking, the first day of spring begins on the March equinox, the day when the sun is directly above the equator, resulting in nearly equal daylight and night hours. Therefore, it does not fall on the same date every year, with it currently shifting between March 20th and 21st. This year's March equinox will be on March 20th at 9:46 a.m. Central Time. The National Weather Service predicts the southern half of Missouri might experience above normal temperatures during March, April, and May. The northern half is predicted to have an equal chance of above, below, or near average temperatures. There's also an equal chance that most of Missouri will experience above, below, or near average precipitation. So what does AccuWeather predict for Missouri spring? The Plains, including most of Missouri, is in for a slow start to the spring season, according to AccuWeather Spring Forecast 2026. The forecasters said warmer temperatures may not arrive for good until May. There's also the potential for a late season frost, which has the potential to affect farmers and backyard gardeners. And how about the Farmer's Almanac? What did they predict? Farmer's Almanac forecasts that the north central zone of the United States, which includes Missouri, will experience a wet and stormy season with heavy rain, thunderstorms, and even occasional snow throughout. The publication also predicts cooler temperatures to linger well into mid-April, which could affect early blooming fruit trees and tender garden plants. The Old Farmer's Almanac predicts the weather in the heartland will be slightly warmer than usual during the 2026 spring months. Although rainfall is expected to be above normal for most of the state, some northern parts may experience drier than usual conditions. So it is a nice warm 70-something degree day today, but it sounds like no one has a good consensus on the rest of the spring. Are you ready, Matt?
Just I think so. I'll just do one more real quick and I'll see if I can.
You bet. So after the shootout the other day, it looks like there's been announcements for public visitations and funerals planned for the slain Christian County deputies. Susan Schuch at the Springfield News-Leader says that visitation and funeral services are scheduled Friday and Saturday for 2 Christian County deputies who were killed in the line of duty earlier this week. Public visitation for deputies Gabriel Ramirez and Michael Hislop will be from 5 to 8 p.m. tonight, February 27th, at James River Church, that's located at 6100 North 19th Street in Ozark. Funeral services for both deputies will be at 1 p.m. February 28th, that's tomorrow, at the same James River Church location. Ramirez was shot and killed February 23rd while conducting a traffic stop near Highlandville. During the manhunt for the suspect in Ramirez's death, Hislop was shot and killed on February 24th while trying to assist 2 injured deputies. The Sheriff's Office, alongside our community, continues to mourn the loss of these dedicated public servants who serve Christian County with honor, courage, and commitment, the Christian County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. All those who wish to pay their respects are encouraged to attend the public visitation and the funeral service. Honors for both deputies will be rendered on site immediately following the funeral service, according to the news release. There will be no graveside service, but after the funeral, a law enforcement procession will follow to Green Lawn Funeral Home in Ozark. The Christian County Sheriff's Office extends its deepest gratitude for the outpouring of support shown to the Ramirez and Hislop families, our deputies, and the entire Sheriff's Office during this difficult time, Christian County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. We ask the community to continue keeping the families, friends, and colleagues of Deputies Ramirez and Hislop in their thoughts and prayers. Those with questions about services may contact the Missouri Law Enforcement Funeral Assistance Team at 816-509-0256. Matt?
I hope this is right. Okay, I think I've got it here. New things here, guys. Having a terrible time finding. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's about the Spring Forward tax revenue, it looks like. For the museum here, and I'm just going to go right to it. Try to find where I was. All right. Okay, here we go. I think I've just about got here. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, it looks like. Oh, I have it here. Okay. Yep, here we are. Okay, yes. Okay. Okay, yes, found it. Okay. Let's move, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, here we go. All right. Springfield City Council passed a pair of resolutions to dedicate, yes, $108 million to the Springfield Art Museum. There we are, and to the parks, trails, and yes, coordinator improvement during its meeting last night. The legislation includes 2 appropriations for fiscal 2027, $15 million for the museum, and $10 million for parks, trails, and coordinators. In fiscal 2028, the museum is slated to receive an additional $15 million. The expenditures were recommended by the city's Citizens Advisory Board, which advised council on its use of the half-cent portion of the Spring Forward SDF 3% sales tax funds on January 22nd. The other portion of the tax funds public safety, including a police and fire pension fund obligation as Springfield Business Journal previously reported. The unanimous vote came at a time when the CAB is drawing scrutiny from council members and a member of the public. Distribution of funds following the first reading of a separate council bill. One proposed the use of Spring Forward SDF funds for a different set of coordinator improvements. Councilor Brandon Jensen raised the concern that half-cent tax funds were not being distributed throughout the city. His remark came during a discussion of a bill to appropriate $75 million for Spring Forward SGF tax funds for an urban design framework for what is being called the National Avenue and Bennett Street node in the area of the Art Museum. There have been a lot of Spring Forward sales tax money spent in this area, and I think so far it has all been well spent, but it's all worth noting, also worth noting that this is one of the wealthiest portions of our community, and I want to make sure we're emphasizing that we're being mindful in adding these funds, Jensen said. Oh, there it is. Okay. Jensen suggested alternative funds sought for projects in the area. So Tim Rosenberry, the city's director of Quality of Place Initiatives, explained that the public works as it is planned for improvement to the Fast Night Greenway from Art Museum to Glenstone Avenue along the including Bennett Street. I'm expecting the lesson from the Grant Avenue Parkway project can be applied to this important implement neighborhood street design, he said. Woodbury said that the city's projects concerning on city property at junction of University and Heights there. Oh, the University Heights neighborhood, yeah, okay. And Phillips Grove neighborhoods. The CAB encouraged staff to encourage in detailed planning to ensure that the project are complementary. Goals are being worked out, so overall that's in with the project as a whole group, but some of their parts, he said. Okay, that's about all that I think. We can go to the next one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield News-Leader, we have several obituaries this week. First is Catherine Mary Roberts, age 81, of Springfield, Missouri, who passed away on December 23rd, 2025 at Mercy Hospital. Born on November 26, 1944 in Clarksville, Arkansas, to Robert and Esther Moorer, Kathy loved serving the Lord and lived her faith daily. She found joy in sewing, crafts, cooking, baking, gardening, playing cards, games, and attending ladies' Bible study. Above all, she loved her family and cherished talking to them on the phone and spending time with them. Kathy was known for her kindness, generosity, and willingness to help others. Kathy is survived by her husband, Dan Roberts, baby girl, daughters Karen Cooper and Sharon King, son Lonnie King, stepsons Kevin, Tim, and Lonnie, sisters Bobby Hall, husband Earl, and Lynn Graham, whose husband is Randy, her granddaughters Michelle, Alicia, Alexis, Amanda, and their spouses, grandsons Robert, Hunter, and their significant others, 9 great-grandkids, and many nieces and nephews. She was preceded in death by her parents, Robert and Esther Moorer, and 2 nephews. A celebration of life will be held in late spring or summer at Emmaus Church in Springfield, Missouri. Next is Elizabeth Meisner, 81, of Springfield, Missouri, who passed away on February 20th, 2026. Born on October 12, 1944, in Tacoma, Washington, she was the daughter of Fred and Agatha Winters. Elizabeth was a proud graduate of Nevada High School, Cotty College, and Southwest Missouri State University. Elizabeth devoted her professional life to education. She taught science, physical education, and health in the Springfield Public Schools, serving at Westport Elementary, Pipkin Junior High, Hickory Hills Junior High, and Reed Junior High. In recognition of her dedication and excellence in the classroom, she was honored as Teacher of the Year for Springfield, Missouri. Beyond the classroom, she coached basketball, volleyball, track, and soccer, leaving a lasting impact on generations of students. She is preceded in death by her parents, her husband Stan, her sister Lily Winters, her brother Jack Winters, and her step-grandson Alex Meisner. She is survived by her son Christopher King, her grandson Gavin King, her stepsons Stanley and Scott, her former husband Rex King, her sister Karen Morgan, her step-grandchildren Richard, Ashley, Luis, Joshua, and Austin, and 10 step-great-grandchildren. Even after retirement, Elizabeth's calling to teach never left her. She continued to mentor educators for the Missouri Department of Education, quietly shaping classrooms she would never see and students she would never meet. Her wisdom, steadiness, and unwavering belief in others became part of a legacy that will continue long beyond her years. But her greatest work was not confined to a school building. It was found around her own table, in the warmth of her home, and in the steadfast love she poured into her family. Liz lived a life of service to her students, to her fellow teachers, and most deeply to those she loved. She leaves behind not only memories, but a living legacy of compassion, strength, and devotion that will endure in the hearts of all who knew her. Those who were taught, coached, mentored, or encouraged by Elizabeth are especially welcome to gather and celebrate the impact of her life. A reception for all will be held following the service, where stories and memories may be shared. A visitation will be held Saturday, March 7th, 2026, at Southgate Baptist Church in Springfield, Missouri, starting at 10 a.m. A memorial service will follow at 11 a.m. with refreshments afterward. There will be a private interment at Missouri Veterans Cemetery. William Bill Burdick, age 92, of Willard, Missouri, passed away on February 22nd, 2026, at Cox Medical Center South. William was born to William T. Burdick and Helen Lowe on July 18, 1933, in Springfield, Missouri. William attended schools in Springfield, and only a few days after he turned 20, enlisted with the United States Army in 1953. William remained in the Army until he was honorably discharged in 1955, having received the National Defense Service Medal and the Army Occupation Medal for his service in Germany. While enlisted, he found the love of his life and was united in marriage to Helga Burdick on March 1, 1955, in Battenberg, Germany. William and Helga were blessed with 3 children and shared over 60 years of marriage before Helga's untimely passing on May 18, 2015. Over the course of his career, William was employed by working as a mason in cabinetry, as a police dog trainer, and grocery store owner. For the last 44 years of his life, William was the proud owner and employee of his own custom cabinet shop, Bill's Custom Woodworks. William was able to build a legacy through his craftsmanship and had many employees he loved dearly that returned his devotion by staying with him in his shop through the years. When not working, he had many interests and pastimes, including fishing, traveling, and spending time with family. William was community-oriented and aimed to help as many as he could, including being a member of the board with the Willard Fire Department, Chamber of Commerce, and a VFW commander. William will be remembered as a loving husband, father, and grandfather. He was often described by others as kind, patient, and someone to follow in the footsteps of. William leaves behind a legacy of love, knowledge, and lessons that will shape all future generations. A visitation for William will be held on Friday, February 27, 2026, at 5 p.m. at Green Lawn Funeral Home North in Springfield, Missouri. A funeral service for William will be held on Saturday, February 28th at 10 a.m. at Green Lawn Funeral Home North, with a burial to follow at Wesley Cemetery, Willard, located at 7005 State Route Z, Willard, Missouri, 65781. In lieu of flowers, the family has requested donations be made in William's memory to Willard Children's Charitable Foundation, WCCF, at Freedom Bank in Willard, Missouri. Nora Lee Ferris Faulkner, age 92, of Springfield, Missouri, passed away on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, at her home in Springfield. She was born July 27, 1933, on a farm outside Monette in rural Berry County, Missouri. Nora Lee was the oldest daughter of Raymond Byron and Lois Lucille Bueller Ferris. She grew up in a home without electricity or running water, where she enjoyed milking cows, feeding chickens, and working on her family's strawberry farm. Nora Lee and her younger sister, Novetta, attended elementary school in a one-room schoolhouse on Kings Prairie. She graduated from Monette High School in 1951 and from the University of Arkansas in 1955 with a degree in home economics. While attending university, Nora Lee was a member of the debate team. Following graduation, she moved to Ithaca, New York to pursue a master's degree at Cornell University. During this time, she married Charles Faulkner, whom she met while an undergraduate student at the U of A. Nora Lee and Charlie moved to Columbia, Missouri, where she taught child development classes at the University of Missouri, while Charlie completed his law degree. Their first child, Charlisa, was born during this time. The family then moved to Aurora, where Charlie set up a law practice, and Nora Lee continued her teaching career at Southwest Missouri State University. Within a few years, they welcomed their son, Charles Byron. In 1974, the family moved to Kansas City, where Nora Lee completed her working career as a supervisor of daycare licensing for the state of Missouri. In retirement, Charlie and Nora Lee moved to a beautiful lake home in Shell Knob, Missouri. They spent many years entertaining friends and family. Nora Lee especially enjoyed hosting her grandchildren and providing them with many special experiences. She also pursued her passion for researching genealogy, traveling with Charlie to uncover their family's histories. Nora Lee's extensive research led to finding her connection as a daughter of the American Revolution, as well as discovering her ancestors' many contributions and accomplishments. Nora Lee embodied that same level of commitment when enhancing her own communities in Southwest Missouri, stating, quote, "My roots run deep in Lawrence County." She established and served on committees dedicated to renovating and maintaining historical artifacts, particularly her one-room schoolhouse. Kings Prairie School, which was dedicated as a historical landmark in 2020. Beginning in 2015, she served 10 years on the board of Jones Memorial Chapel in Mount Vernon, Missouri, lending her expertise and energy to nearly every project, from groundswork to research to management of investments. She volunteered countless hours at the Lawrence County Historical Society's museum, Adamson Cabin, and research room, educating people about history and assisting them with their own research. Nora Lee possessed a particular respect for the final resting grounds of her ancestors. She was instrumental in rehabilitating the Samuel and Catherine Ferris Memorial Cemetery, as well as the John Ferris Cemetery, by devoting hours of research to ensure accuracy and by participating in the physical labor needed to clear the overgrown vegetation before the head and foot stones could be located. Nora Lee and her cousin Barbara hosted a lovely dedication ceremony and placement of a historical marker adjacent to the cemetery. Nora Lee's endowment will guarantee that her descendants will experience the great love and devotion to family that she always expressed in her quiet and subtle ways. Nora Lee is survived by her daughter, Dr. Charlisa Allen of San Diego, California, along with her son, Dr. Byron Faulkner, and his wife, Mary of Springfield, Missouri. She was blessed with 5 grandchildren: Joshua Lee Allen, Jennifer Lee Allen, Laura Elizabeth Moore, Victoria Marie Meyer, and Anna Nicole Price, and 3 great-grandchildren: Nora Catherine Moore, Sophia Elizabeth Moore, and Charlotte Elizabeth Price, all of Springfield, Missouri. Nora Lee is survived by her sister, Novetta Richardson of Little Rock, 4 nieces and their spouses, and several grandnieces and nephews. Nora Lee was preceded in death by her parents, Raymond and Lois Ferris, her husband of 55 years, Charles Brixey Faulkner, and son-in-law, Dr. Robert W. Allen. Nora Lee was a remarkable woman, and she meant a great deal to many people. This brief narrative just touches the surface of how deep her impact has been on her family and all the people with whom she came into contact. A celebration of Nora Lee's life will be held from 10 to 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 11, 2026, at Craft and Cantrell Funeral Home in Aurora, Missouri. A private family burial will be held at Spring River Cemetery in Verona, Missouri. Online condolences may be shared at www.craftandcantrellfuneralhome.com. Matt?
From the Springfield Business Journal, Springfield Rep seeks re-election to Missouri House seat. We'll get to where I need to go for that. State Rep Jeremy Dean, Springfield is seeking re-election. Dean announced his re-election campaign in a news release issued today. Dean was elected to the District 132 seat covering a portion of North and Northwest Springfield in November 2024. According to past reporting, if reelected, Dean said he would continue his focus on working families through policies such as the affordability, public education, and housing. He said, I first ran for office. It was because families were being left behind while politicians focused on the wrong priorities, Dean said in the release. Too many people were working hard, playing by the rules, and still struggling to get ahead. I ran to be a fighter for them, and that's exactly what I've been doing. He added, I'm running to keep pushing for affordability, community welfare, community well-funded public schools, and real housing solutions that meet the moment. Dean has registered his campaign for the August 4th primary election with the Missouri Ethics Commission. The group's Golden Republican additionally has filed NBC paperwork for the District 132 seat. Is that it? I think that is the end of that one, it looks like.
So we have several holidays today. We have National Protein Day. Go out there and get you some good protein. International Polar Bear Day. International Stand Up to Bullying Day. National Kahlua Day. National Retro Day. National Skip the Straw Day. National Strawberry Day. No Brainer Day. Apparently it's a day for not thinking hard. Pokemon Day, World NGO Day, and the Big Breakfast Day. They don't have breakfast, but Carrie's Cafe, a student-run restaurant, returns with new menus and MSU raised beef. Joe Hadsall at the Springfield Daily Citizen says that as excited as Katie Youngblood was for opening day Thursday at Carrie's Cafe, she is more excited for what happens in about a month. Youngblood is working the front of house at this student-run restaurant that operates on the top floor of Pummel Hall on the Missouri State University campus. She'll help seat customers, take reservations, collect payments from customers, and everything else that happens in a restaurant's dining room. After 4 weeks, though, she'll get to work in the kitchen. The first 4 weeks, the people in the kitchen are the ones who created this menu, and then the next 4 weeks, we created that menu, Youngblood said. So we'll be back in the kitchen cooking it, and they'll be out here serving. The swap of shifts is one of two major changes to the cafe, which is operated by MSU's School of Hospitality and Agricultural Leadership. For the first time in its history, the cafe is rolling out two menus. A French bistro will be offered until March 26th, and then it'll switch to a coastal Mediterranean cafe. Starting in the previous semester, the restaurant will feature beef that has been raised by the university, a farm-to-fork experience. Following is a photo of Jackson Thomas, who is a senior there at MSU, as he prepared a table on Thursday at Carrie's Cafe. They've got a very nice little setup there in the campus, lovely black tablecloths and flower centerpieces. Known to students as HSP 435, the class holds 6 students this semester who are learning lessons about food service that only experience can teach. Running since the late 90s, the restaurant was named after Carrie Carmichael Hammock, a 92 graduate of the program who died shortly before the restaurant first opened. Originally operating at the corner of Cherry Street and Kimbrough Avenue, renovations of Pummel's top floor let the cafe move on campus in 2015, according to a report from The Standard, MSU's student newspaper. The restaurant is open to the public during some very limited hours, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays until April 28th. Reservations are highly encouraged by calling 417-836-4409 or 417-836-4224. Instructor Wajiana Bonjik said that students spent much of their coursework learning about the dining room and kitchen and also work on food prep. But the greatest educational experience comes when customers place their orders. The limited time the restaurant is open challenges students to work quickly and attentively while still delivering great guest service, Bonchik said in a university publication. When things don't go as planned, they learn how to address them in a professional manner and adapt to making the situation as perfect as possible. Every semester, students in the class choose a menu and develop recipes and styles. Last semester, it offered an Asian-Italian fusion, leading to entrees such as kimchi pasta, banh mi meatballs, and a chai tiramisu. This semester, the class will roll out 2 menus, starting with a French bistro-themed approach. Entrees include a chicken piccata with pappardelle noodles, a brie and apple panini sandwich, a grilled cheese and beef dip sandwich, and a Gruyere smash burger. Following is a photo of River Bieberitz, who is a sophomore, as she looks over the entrees being prepared Thursday at the cafe, and those entrees look pretty tasty. The smash burger is one of Kelson Miner's favorites. It features melted Gruyere cheese, caramelized onions, and prosciutto. People who don't eat meat will enjoy that brie grilled cheese sandwich with its pairing of green apples and arugula. Miner will be making plenty of those sandwiches over the next 4 weeks. Before the cafe opened, he was preparing for the rush of the lunch crowd. He was prepared to keep things from burning, an important job on the sandwich station, especially when cooking multiple orders. A senior, Miner appreciates the kitchen experience he's getting. He also works as a server for a St. Louis country club, but loves to cook. The real-world environment is impactful for his future, he said. He appreciates how the cafe is no simulation. Our professors want things done the right way, but they do it in a nice way, Miner said. You learn in a constructed environment, but you better be on your game because it's supposed to be good. People are paying real money, so what we sell matters. Youngblood agrees. She said that the class doesn't really feel like a class. Instead, it's time to hang out with her friends and learn how to do something she has a passion for. She said she's excited for the upcoming Mediterranean menu in 4 weeks. She is also a senior in hospitality leadership and is excited to prepare chickpea heroes and margarita pizza. Until that time, however, she's ready to work front of house despite being nervous before opening day. It's definitely nerve-wracking because it's a different type of crowd, Youngblood said. I've worked front of house before, but it was more like a job. This is school, so it's a little bit of a different experience. The smash burger that Miner recommends features beef that never left Missouri. Starting with the fall semester, Carrie's Cafe has used beef raised at MSU's Jornigan Ranch. Melissa Bledsoe, dean of the Dar College of Agriculture, said that the university has brought back its Mo State beef program. The program used to offer meat for sale at grocery stores, but it was discontinued about a decade ago. Recently, however, it has made a return as the college has grown and started to emphasize a farm-to-fork mindset. Carrie's Cafe meshes well with that philosophy, she said. When the hospitality program joined the college a couple years ago, we thought that this is an opportunity for us to think about our final products again, Bledsoe said. How can we utilize our farms better, generate more opportunity from that farm-to-fork experience, and integrate hospitality by creating opportunities for that? The Jornigan Ranch is about 3,300 acres with about 700 head of purebred Hereford cattle. Bledsoe said it's the largest university-owned herd in the state. Cattle are eventually processed at Cloud's Meat Processing in Carthage. Students get access to the cattle as part of the as part of agricultural programs, and university employees are charged with raising them. The university-raised beef is getting noticed in other places. Bledsoe said the hamburgers and hot dogs made from the beef have been served at university events, and several in the university community are interested in ordering their own cuts. Those applications have been a proof of concept that selling beef can succeed, Bledsoe said. Now we're going to scale that as needed, Bledsoe said. The goal is to figure out how we can sell to the public. We're working on mechanism to purchase, then we can scale out as our freezer space allows.
From the Springfield Business Journal, SPS wants to flip 3 more schools to geothermal heating, cooling. Board of Education expected to vote February 24th on a $16 million construction project. We'll get to it. The actual text here. Okay, there we are. Springfield Public Schools wants to demolish existing heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems in 3 buildings and install geothermal systems. The Board of Education is expected to vote February 24th on the $16 million project, which may cost as little as $11 million after expected rebate. If approved, 3 buildings at Pipkin Elementary, Truman Elementary, and Watkins Creek Elementary, sorry. We'll switch from traditional HVAC systems to geothermal, which uses pipes and stable distribution temperatures to manage indoor temperatures more effectively. In 2024, SPS converted 3 initial buildings to the geothermal. They included Disney Elementary and Springfield Elementary and Carver Middle School. Sean Delday, Executive Director of Operations, said for BPL, which started in Missouri and had an office in Springfield, completed the 2024 project and emerged as the top bidder for the 2026 work. What the heck? Okay, I think Sage Corner, account manager at Verity, said the company has completed more than 300 projects in schools there. We really understand what schools need and what they go through, their challenges, so that I think that give us a little bit more of an edge on a lot of other companies, said Akron in February 10th board meeting. Akron said the project switching to geothermal is quicker than public may expect. He reminded the board that the Disney Carver and Ziquiota projects were done in one summer. The day school got out, we started tearing down ceilings, and we readied all of the schools in one summer and had them back up and running before school started, Akron said. This is a monumental task, and we are very happy to stand before you and tell you it went very successfully. Akron said the company is seeking a performance-based contract which has a guaranteed minimum price with no charge orders. For its part, the company complements all design work, engineering, demolition, and hazardous material removal as part of the agreement. We have this designed and ready to go, and we will have this done before the end of the summer, he told the board. We will start as soon as school gets out. SBS said the construction is expected to cost up to $16 million. Akron said geothermal projects are essential for a minimum federal Inflation Action Act or IRA rebate of in this case it will be $4 million, leaving the district that will pay to the $50 million. Okay, enough of that. Okay, next thing.
All right. Let's see. In breaking news from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Ryan Collins talks to us about the Springfield Fire Department battling an apartment fire near downtown this morning. A photo of the firefighters and the fire crew as they gather after extinguishing the fire begins the article. The Springfield Fire Department crews battled a fire that broke out in an apartment complex near downtown Friday morning. No residents were injured. Crews responded to Stonewood Apartments located at 901 to 909 South Avenue shortly after 8 a.m. February 27th, where an upstairs apartment on the southwest side of Building E had a, quote, heavy fire, according to Battalion Fire Chief Jason Wells, who was one of the first responders. We had heavy fire, obviously, back here on this back corner, Wells said. It was coming out, over the roof. Crews came in and got a good stop on it, and the department sent guys in to search and start clearing apartments. No residents were injured in the fire, Wells said. Multiple pets were rescued and reunited with their owners. It took about 30 minutes to mitigate the flames and clear the scene, Wells said. Wells said the cause was under investigation. There were at least 8 fire trucks, 1 ambulance, and multiple police vehicles at the scene around 9 a.m. The article ends with a photo of the Springfield Fire Department crews as they climbed the ladder to get to the roof of Stonewood Apartments. In further public safety news from Jeff Kessinger, the Springfield Daily Citizen, a Springfield man with gang ties has been sentenced for illegal firearms possession. Prosecutors say a Springfield man who was closely associated with a local street gang known as FTO was sentenced in federal court on February 25th for illegally possessing firearms. One of those firearms has been linked to multiple shootings. Tylen Lamar Spencer, age 22, was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Roseanne Ketchmark to 5 years in federal prison, to be followed by 3 years of supervised release. According to court documents, on May 28, 2021, law enforcement stopped a vehicle in which Spencer was a passenger. Under the back seat, officers found a loaded Pioneer Arms Hellpup 7.62 caliber semi-automatic pistol. Spencer admitted the held-up firearm belonged to him and admitted he was a regular user of marijuana. It is a violation of federal law for an unlawful user of a controlled substance to knowingly possess a firearm. On June 21, 2023, Spencer was caught on surveillance footage at a gas station brandishing a firearm during an argument. A warrant was issued for this incident, and he was arrested on August 4, 2023. During Spencer's arrest, officers found a loaded Taurus G2C 9mm semi-automatic pistol in his pants pocket. Spencer was with another FTO associate. During a search of the associate's vehicle, officers found a Glock 23 Gen 4 .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol with an extended magazine. Spencer admitted that the Glock firearm found in the vehicle belonged to him. The Taurus pistol was submitted to the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network, and leads were generated indicating that the firearm was used in 2 unresolved shootings, one that occurred on July 20th, 2023, and the other on July 30th, 2023. This case was prosecuted by Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephanie L. Wan. It was investigated by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Greene County Sheriff's Department, and the Springfield Police Department.
I've had technical issues, so you'll have to, unfortunately, continue. I'm afraid I will not.
All right.
Have anything.
No worries.
Yes, sir.
No worries. We are currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our official website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. To explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material, please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education. Missouri urges weather preparedness after a deadly 2025 tornado season. Dave DeMille and the Springfield News-Leader say that after Missouri recorded 16 tornado-related deaths in 2025, its deadliest tornado year since the 2011 Joplin disaster, state officials are urging residents to take preparedness seriously during Severe Weather Preparedness Week beginning March 2nd, according to a community announcement. The National Weather Service also reported 3 flooding deaths and 1 severe thunderstorm fatality last year. Missouri's statewide tornado drill is scheduled for 11 a.m. on March 4th, when the NOAA weather radios will activate and warning sirens will sound in participating communities. Residents, schools, and workplaces are encouraged to practice sheltering in an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. Local communities may hold the drill on alternate days if needed. Missouri had 5 federal major disasters in 2025, more than any other state last year, which, along with the fatalities and injuries, sends a clarion call for the need to be prepared for all forms of severe weather, State Emergency Management Agency Director Jim Remillard said in the announcement. We strongly encourage all Missourians to take these threats seriously and make sure every member of their household knows how to prepare and is ready to take protective action. Following is a photo of Columbia Interim Utilities Director Erin Keyes as she reads a statement on April 24th last year regarding near-term and long-term steps the city was taking following the destruction of the materials recovery facility for recycling by an EF1 tornado that happened last Easter Sunday. The National Weather Service will highlight a different topic each day: receiving weather information on March 2nd, lightning safety on March 3rd, tornado safety on March 4th when they'll hold that tornado drill, hail and wind safety on March 5th, and flood safety on March 6th. Officials urge residents to monitor forecasts, know the difference between a watch and warning, and build emergency plans that include pets. The announcement also warns residents never to shelter under overpasses, leave mobile homes during tornado warnings, avoid downed power lines, and stay off flooded roads. More preparedness guidance and videos are available at stormaware.mo.gov. Residents can also use Missouri's Ready in 3 program at health.mo.gov/emergencies/readyin3, and that is the number 3. And in addition to scary things that can happen outdoors, there are a lot of fun things happening outdoors in the Ozarks in the spring. And Ahmad Jawadi at Springfield News-Leader wants you to understand that you might have a permit expiring. The Missouri Department of Conservation is urging hunters and anglers to renew their annual permits before they expire at the end of February. These include 2025 permits for small game, fishing, trout fishing, and combination hunting and fishing, MDC said in a news release. Missourians can buy annual permits from vendors around the state online at mdc.mo.gov/buy-permits or through MDC's mobile apps. MDC also offers an auto renewal service for those who don't want to manually renew their permits each year. So what happens if you're caught with an expired permit? Well, Missourians found hunting or fishing without the proper permits could face fines and court fees more costly than the permit itself. Repeat offenders could even lose their permit privileges entirely, hence barring them from legally hunting and fishing in the state. The Missouri Department of Conservation will host a crappie fishing workshop for Springfield area residents on Tuesday, March 3rd from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Central Time at the Springfield Conservation Nature Center. The workshop will cover current fishing regulations on Springfield area lakes, crappie fishing methods and equipment, lures, bait, jigging, locating crappie, using electronics, and more. The program is open to all ages, but children under 14 must be accompanied by an adult. Those interested can register for the event at mdc.mo.gov/events. The program will take place inside the auditorium at Springfield Conservation Nature Center, located at 401 South Nature Way. And Dave DeMille with the Springfield News-Leader tells us that Springfield is launching a new hub to clarify shifting medical guidance. Springfield Greene County health officials have launched a new online resource to help residents make sense of rapidly shifting medical guidance and public health recommendations, according to a community announcement. The Springfield Greene County Health Department developed the site in partnership with Mercy Springfield Communities and Cox Health. The goal is to offer clear, evidence-based explanations of topics that have seen changing clinical recommendations in recent years. 2025 was a year of change for public health, Katie Towns, the department's director of health, said in the announcement. We wanted to create a place where community members can go when these changes occur. The site currently includes summaries on acetaminophen use during pregnancy, the hepatitis B vaccine, the MMRV vaccine, and other frequently discussed topics. Officials say the resource will evolve as organizations identify new areas where residents need clarity. Healthcare is changing quickly, and being aligned around what's best for the community matters more than ever, Dr. Sean Ussery, Chief Medical Officer at Cox Health, said in the announcement. For decades, national medical groups and federal agencies often issued unified recommendations designed for broad populations, but many areas of healthcare have shifted toward shared clinical decision-making, guidance determined between a patient and their provider, which can make it harder for families to interpret new research or news reports. The new site is intended to give residents a place to review evidence before talking with their clinicians, not to direct them towards specific choices. We want to remind the community that they don't have to make health decisions alone, Dr. Sadaf Sohrab, Chief Medical Officer for Mercy Springfield Community, said in the announcement. We're here to help. The resource is available at health.springfieldmo.gov/community topics. And speaking of health, Susan Shuk at the Springfield News-Leader says that Springfield Health Department has put a restaurant on a risk control plan. A Springfield restaurant was put on a risk control plan this week, according to a February 19th inspection by the Springfield Greene County Health Department's food safety team. A risk control plan is implemented when a place has 3 of the same priority violations in a row in an effort to help a restaurant create, quote, a new habit that keeps the food safe and our customers safe. Eric Markall, program coordinator for the SGCHD's Environmental Services Division, told the Springfield News-Leader in 2023. A priority violation is one that impacts the safety of the food. Sam's Southern Eatery, 1631 North Glenstone, was put on a risk control plan following its most recent inspection. The report was updated February 26th to include the fact that the risk control plan was written for date marking and unclean food surfaces, according to a SGCHD spokesperson. The last time this restaurant was put on a risk control plan was in 2024 for, quote, pest control and cleaning, according to the February 12, 2024 report. During the February 19th report, inspectors observed for the third time in a row a lack of date marking on potentially hazardous foods. Refrigerated, ready-to-eat food that is prepared and kept in an establishment must be clearly marked, quote, to indicate the day or day by which the food shall be consumed on the premises, sold, or discarded, according to the Missouri Food Code. In addition to that, Sam's Southern Eatery was also cited for having mushrooms with mold being stored in the prep cooler for a second routine inspection, which were voluntarily discarded, unclean food utensils and soda nozzles, and dead cockroaches on the floor of the facility. Issues found during inspections fall into either priority or non-priority violations. Priority violations impact the safety of the food, such as cross-contamination between raw and ready-to-eat food, improper food temperature, and poor personal hygiene and employee health. Multiple priority violations can lead to an establishment being shut down. Non-priority violations alone do not directly affect food safety, such as dirty floors, sticky tabletops, or outside trash cans not being covered. Food inspections take place 1 to 3 times a year, depending on the type of food served, the population served, difficulty of food preparation, and past history. Restaurants preparing food from raw ingredients are inspected more often than, quote, convenience stores that only serve non-potentially hazardous foods, such as popcorn and soda, according to the Springfield County Health Department. Each report identifies what was happening at the establishment at that time. Consumers who want to know whether a violation is a one-time thing or a pattern are encouraged to refer to previous reports, which are available on the Health Department's website. And Ryan Collins with the Springfield Daily Citizen says that EMS directors detailed a massive response to the heartbreaking shootout in Stone County. A Christian County deputy was killed during a traffic stop on February 23rd in Highlandville. Hours later, 3 more deputies were shot, one fatally, when a manhunt for the suspect ended in rural Stone County. Christian County Sheriff Brad Cole said it was a dark day for law enforcement and the community. It was also a dark day for the emergency medical services teams that responded to Stone County, where the suspect, Richard Byrd, engaged more than 100 officers in a shootout. In my 37 years with EMS, I have never experienced anything like the tragedy that unfolded Monday night, Bob Patterson, Executive Director of Emergency Services at Mercy Springfield Communities, said in an email. Christian County Deputy Gabriel Ramirez, age 30, was fatally shot during the late afternoon traffic stop. A manhunt ensued, and the suspect, Byrd, was spotted near Reed Spring later that evening. When officers approached, Byrd began firing. Deputy Michael Hislop, age 40, was killed while trying to rescue another officer, the sheriff said. 2 other law enforcement agents, Deputy Josh Wall of Christian County and Deputy Austin McCall of Webster County, suffered life-threatening injuries. McCall was shot 4 times. Both deputies were in stable condition as of Tuesday. Shortly after midnight, officers approached Byrd in an armored vehicle and shot and killed the suspect. Sheriff Cole estimated the shootout lasted 30 minutes, while the manhunt lasted 9 hours. A Mercy spokesperson said its EMS team also aided a police officer who sustained a dog bite and another who fell during the incident. Following is a photo of a helicopter as it sits in the middle of a roundabout Tuesday morning in Stone County. Mercy EMS crews arrived on scene in rural Stone County around 5 p.m. and remained on the scene for several hours, supporting law enforcement until the scene was cleared, the company said in an emailed statement. Though Mercy EMS arrived at Incident Command, the team was required to stay back because of active gunfire. Mercy had 7 ambulances and 2 helicopters on site. There were other EMS agencies assisting. No patients were transported to a Mercy hospital. It is heartbreaking, and I know our entire Mercy EMS team has our police partners in their thoughts and prayers this week, Patterson, Executive Director of Emergency Services at Mercy Springfield Community, said in an email. Mercy provides EMS for Stone County. The Stone County Ambulance District Board of Directors signed a 3-year contract with Mercy Emergency Medical Services of Springfield. The contract went into effect in October of 2025. Cox Health has a team designated to respond to incidents involving law enforcement, a spokesperson said in an email to the Daily Citizen. Cox Health had 3 members of the medical support for law enforcement team respond to the events that unfolded in Christian and Stone counties on February 23rd. The team was engaged in both counties from 6:50 p.m. to about 1 a.m. The hospital system has memorandums of understanding with the Greene County Sheriff's Office and Missouri State Highway Patrol. The MSLE team members have special training to provide medical care to law enforcement in emergency situations. Monday night's events were tragic for our region, and they have deeply affected our first responders, Mark Alexander, Director of Pre-Hospital Services at Cox Health, said in a statement emailed to the Daily Citizen. We are proud partners in supporting our law enforcement teams, and we are mourning alongside our colleagues and our neighbors. Coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Senator Lincoln Hough unveils an alternative Missouri budget to the governor's plan. Beginning the article, here is a photo of the senator, a Republican from Springfield, taken on Wednesday as he proposed an alternative budget that boosts funding for public schools. He's wearing a suit and a brightly colored tie and leaning back with his hands clasped, looking very confident and comfortable. Rudy Keller from the Missouri Independent says that a Republican lawmaker stripped of his influence on the state budget for bucking GOP leadership struck back Wednesday by introducing an alternative to Governor Mike Kehoe's spending plan. State Senator Lincoln Hough, a Springfield Republican, was removed as Senate Appropriations Committee chairman in September, just 20 minutes after he voted against shutting off debate on bills to weaken the initiative petition process and gerrymander the state's congressional districts. Hough later lost the seat on the committee, which he had held for his previous 7 years in the Senate. In a scathing attack Wednesday, Hough said the budget the governor proposed in January shortchanges schools, makes, quote, devastating cuts to providers and services that people back at home depend on, and uses budgetary gimmicks to balance spending and revenue. His alternative budget, Hough said during debate Wednesday, spends less general revenue than Kehoe proposed, even after accounting for increases for public schools and higher education, as well as reversing cuts proposed by the governor to services for people with disabilities. To make his plan work, Hough would take $451 million from funding set aside in 2022 and 2023 for renovation and expansion of the Missouri Capitol building. I do not believe, at a time when we are underfunding education and not investing in our communities and not investing in our people back at home, that we can sit on $500 million to maybe repaint the walls of the Capitol, Hough said. Hough must leave office this year because of term limits. The alternative budget is his parting shot and, he said, an example for future lawmakers who want to change spending priorities. You can do this on your own, Hough said. It's going to take a little bit of work, and lucky for me, I've got a bit of time to work on it this year. The introduction of the bills does not mean they will receive action anytime soon. There are 100 Senate bills that must be assigned to committees before Hough's new measures, and persuading Senate leadership to allow a hearing will be challenging. But the bills will be waiting when the Missouri House, which traditionally goes first on the budget proposals, sends bills funding the state government to the Senate sometime next month. Missouri is facing a fiscal cliff after several years of huge general revenue surpluses. Over the 2 most recent fiscal years, the state has spent $28.7 billion from the General Revenue Fund, while taking in $26.8 billion in revenue. For the budget year that ends June 30th, lawmakers have appropriated $16.2 billion from general revenue, while anticipating $13.1 billion in revenue. Kehoe's budget projects general revenue appropriations for all needs at $17 billion in the coming year, with revenues projected at $13.6 billion. A general revenue fund balance that peaked at $5.8 billion at the end of June 2023 would stand at $265 million on June 30th, 2027 under Kehoe's budget proposal. Huff said his budget does not rely on spending money from appropriations, while Kehoe is asking lawmakers to authorize $1.1 billion that he does not expect to actually spend. Major differences between Huff's plan and Kehoe's include $190 million more for public schools through the foundation, plus an additional $32.4 million for school transportation costs, a 1.5% increase in the base support for community college and four-year universities, $46 million to shore up the Missouri State Employees Retirement System, and $105 million, including $32 million in general revenue, to restore Kehoe's cuts to disability services. The extra public school funding is needed to pay for the cost to pass legislation, Huff said. Kehoe did not propose it. I don't think it does us any good to come out here, pass legislation, say we're doing all this great stuff, and when the bills come due, not to pay, Huff said. Huff also suggested some cuts in spending proposed by Kehoe. He removed $150 million from construction spending that Kehoe's budget indicates would not be needed in fiscal 2027, switched $85 million from general revenue to borrowed money for campus construction, and cut $56 million in payments for a new state financial management system riddled with problems. In an interview after introducing the 16 bills in his budget package, Huff said he is not engaged in a petty fight with leadership. Instead, he said he wants lawmakers to know what they're facing and remind them of the power of overspending before he leaves office. My intent right now is to show people there's another path, Huff said. State Senator Rusty Black, a Chillicothe Republican who replaced Huff as Appropriations Chairman, was not available for comment when the Independent visited his office. He did issue a statement after Huff began presenting his bills, promising to restore cuts to disability services. Missouri's most vulnerable citizens and the families who care for them deserve our full support, Black said. Kehoe's office did not respond to an email seeking comment. In the Senate, Huff discussed his budget plan with State Senator Maggie Nuremberg, a Kansas City Democrat. She said the cuts Kehoe proposed would hurt the state's most vulnerable citizens. And Nuremberg, a former teacher, said failing to pay the state's share of education costs pushes the burden to local taxpayers. When we're underfunding our neighborhood schools by $190 million, when we're cutting that transportation categorical by $15 million, what happens? Nuremberg said. School districts are forced to make really tough decisions like cutting after-school programming or not providing additional tutoring opportunities or, again, growing class sizes. Huff said he spent about 6 weeks working out his budget plan despite having no committee role on spending. You can take the kid out of the committee, he said, but you can't take the committee out of the kid. Jackie Rewald, the Springfield Daily Citizen, says the Stone County Sheriff defends the judge who allowed the man who shot the deputies to post bond days before. To begin the article, we have a photo of Stone County Sheriff Doug Rader as he attended a press conference for the memorial of the two slain Christian County deputies. On the same day, 2 Christian County deputies were fatally shot on Monday, February 23rd. The man who authorities say pulled the trigger had been charged with the Class D felonies of second-degree burglary and stealing and the Class E felony of tampering with physical evidence in Stone County. Richard Dean Byrd, the shooter, had also been charged 5 days earlier with the Class D felonies of receiving stolen property and possession of a controlled substance. Byrd, who was killed in a shootout with law enforcement, had been released last week on $50,000 bond for those charges. Authorities say Byrd, a prior and persistent felony offender, shot 4 law enforcement officers, killing 2 and seriously injuring the other 2. Following are the police photos of deputies Gabriel Ramirez and Michael Haslope, the two officers who were killed Monday. Soon after Bird's name was released and people learned of his criminal history, many took to social media to criticize a Stone County judge for allowing Bird to post bond last week. "Catch and release should only be for fish," one commenter wrote on a Color 10 post. "Was the judge driving the getaway vehicle?" another wrote. "The judges need to start being held accountable," someone wrote on a Springfield Daily Citizen post. Stone County Sheriff Doug Rader pushed back against these comments in a social media post Tuesday night, explaining that Stone County Judge Eric Chavez, who allowed Bird post bond, was following the law. Rader described $50,000 as a, quote, very high bond for property crimes and suggested that judges in other counties typically allow $5,000 to $10,000 bonds or even book and release for such crimes. Rader shared information about the Missouri Supreme Court's 2019 new bail rules aimed at reducing the detention of individuals solely due to their inability to pay. The rules mandate judges to emphasize non-monetary release conditions and set bail only if necessary and not higher than required to ensure safety and appearance in court rather than routinely setting high cash bonds. "You can blame the Missouri Supreme Court or you can blame the bonding company that bonded them," Rader wrote in part. "At the end of the day, it comes down to a deranged man that took two heroes' lives." Several years ago, the Mo Supreme Court put restrictions on judges on putting people on high bonds, Rader wrote. "Our judges do an outstanding job and are absolutely not at fault. Calling out our judges to resign is not the answer." Rader and Chavez did not immediately respond to requests for interviews on Wednesday. An employee in Chavez's office promised to pass the reporter's request on to the judge, but explained that sitting judges are usually not allowed to comment about these types of issues. A message left Wednesday for bondsman Matthew Coombs with Queen City bail bonds was not immediately returned. The shootings on Monday were not the first time Bird fired a gun at law enforcement. Bird was charged with attempted first-degree murder and theft in 2014 in Johnson County, Kansas. According to multiple news stories from 2014, Bird was accused of firing shots at a Johnson County deputy in September of 2014. The deputy was not hit by the gunfire. The shots were fired, according to a KMBC report, as deputies were responding to a theft-in-progress call at a construction site. Kansas online court records show a plea deal was reached, and the attempted murder charge was lowered to aggravated battery, intentional great bodily harm. He also pleaded guilty to fleeing from a law enforcement officer, interfering with law enforcement, criminal discharge of a firearm, and possession of narcotics. Online records indicate Bird spent time in the Kansas Department of Corrections, but was released sometime prior to January 2022 when he incurred a speeding ticket in Stone County, Missouri. Authorities say Deputy Gabriel Ramirez was fatally shot Monday afternoon, February 23rd, while conducting a traffic stop on Bird near Highlandville. Law enforcement officers from across the region descended on the area and surrounded Bird in rural Stone County. Authorities say Bird opened fire on the officers. Christian County Deputy Michael Haslope was killed in the shootout, and two other officers, Christian County Deputy Josh Wall and Webster County Deputy Austin McCall, were shot but survived. Find information on how to support the families of the slain deputies at sgfcitizen.org. And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Steve Pokin, Answer Man. Does city utilities have plans for the property at Sunshine and Scenic? Answer Man, my husband and I have been wondering, what is city utilities' long-term plans with their property on the northwest corner of Sunshine Street and Scenic Avenue, asks Leanne Marsh of Springfield. The property is 37.7 acres. The address is 2715 West Sunshine Street. I called Jamie Presley, spokesperson for City Utilities, for your answer, Leanne. The property serves as a designated fill site for excess soil from our construction projects, Presley said via email. When crews replace water or natural gas mains, they have to excavate to install the new infrastructure. Instead of refilling those areas with all of the original soil, gravel or sand is used around the pipes to provide proper stabilization and long-term reliability. The excess soil removed during the process is moved to the scenic and sunshine site. City Utilities has used this property since 2010. Initially, CU operated under an agreement with the previous landowner to use the site for fill. In August 2018, CU purchased the property to ensure its continued availability. CU has maintained the land by putting in stormwater runoff improvements and erosion control measures to ensure no adverse effects for the surrounding area. That's how the property has been used, is being used today, and how it will be used in the foreseeable future. There are no current plans to sell or develop the site for any other purpose, Presley said. This is Answer Man column number 163. And more news about the fallen deputies in Christian County this week. Marta Meets with the Springfield News-Leader says that Springfield Hy-Vee stores are raising funds for the Christian County deputies. Springfield Hy-Vee stores are raising funds to support the families of 2 Christian County Sheriff's Office deputies killed in the line of duty. Deputy Gabriel Ramirez was shot and killed Monday, February 25th while conducting a traffic stop near Highlandville. As a manhunt for the suspect ensued, 2 other deputies were injured, and another, Deputy Michael Hislop, was shot and killed while trying to assist those injured. The 2 injured deputies, one of whom is with the Webster County Sheriff's Office, are expected to recover. As the local community grieves and rallies around the Christian County Sheriff's Office and the loved ones of fallen deputies, Springfield Hy-Vee stores are joining the effort to support those affected. From 8 to 11 a.m. tomorrow, Saturday, February 28th, both Springfield Hy-Vee Market Grill locations will host an all-you-can-eat breakfast for $9.99 and donate all proceeds to the Christian County Deputy Sheriff's Association to benefit the Ramirez and Hislop families, according to a Hy-Vee news release. From 4 to 7 p.m. Monday, both locations will also offer $4 meal deals with all proceeds directed toward the deputies' families. Shoppers will be able to leave a donation while checking out at both stores starting February 26th. The fundraisers will take place at both locations at 1720 West Battlefield Road and 2150 East Sunshine Street. Looks like Buc-ee's is suing another convenience store over some logo similarities. Greta Cross and Samantha Foster bring us a story with the Springfield News-Leader that says Buc-ee's is suing yet another convenience store, this time in Ohio, for a mascot the travel stop giant claims is too similar to its own. The company's move follows 2 previous lawsuits filed against Southwest Missouri businesses as well as many others. Buc-ee's, which has a location just outside of Springfield, has historically been eager to jump on convenience stores that feature a gleeful animal mascot, claiming the similarities may cause confusion for consumers who may think Buc-ee's is associated with the smaller, often local or regional chains. Buc-ee's filed a lawsuit against Kohl's IP Holdings, LLC, which owns the Ohio convenience store and gas station chain Mickey Mart, in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Ohio on February 18th. Buc-ee's is suing for trademark infringement and unfair competition. Buc-ee's is also trying to cancel Kohl's IP Holdings trademark registrations, a process that began in August 2025, according to court documents. With about 42 Ohio locations, according to its website, Mickey Mart features a smiling cartoon moose within a red hexagon as its logo. Buc-ee's argues in court documents that the animal logo is too similar to its own, a toothy beaver wearing a red ball cap inside a bright yellow circle. Both animals are facing right and display wide eyes and a smile, Buc-ee said in court documents. In addition to the logo, Buc-ee's argues in court documents that Mickey Mart is transitioning its branding to Mickey's at its stores, on signage and online, which, quote, closely resembles the Buc-ee's trademark. Mickey Mart's unauthorized use of Buc-ee's logos is likely to cause confusion among consumers, Buc-ee states in court documents. Consumers are likely to perceive a connection or association as to the source, sponsorship, or affiliation of the party's products and services, when in fact none exists, given the similarity of the party's logos, trade channels, and consumer bases. Neither Buc-ee's nor Mickey Mart immediately responded to comment about the lawsuit when contacted by USA Today on February 25th. In April 2025, Buc-ee's filed a federal lawsuit against Barky's, a dog-friendly coffee shop in Marshfield that offered food shops and a Western-themed miniature city for kids. Buc-ee's argued that the Barky's logo, which featured a smiling dog riding in a car, was too similar to Buc-ee's imagery, as some Buc-ee's merchandise also featured the iconic beaver inside a car. Barky's closed in March of 2025. In November 2024, Buc-ee's filed a federal lawsuit against Ducky's, a liquor store in Kimberling City. Buc-ee's claimed Ducky's used a similar animal-centric logo on its merchandise, a cartoon duck wearing sunglasses in a green shirt and red bow tie, all inside a yellow circle. The case was settled in April 2025, according to court documents. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive a 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale where all clothing items are available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors aged 55 and older benefit from a 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community. There has been a cottage cheese recall from Walmart that includes varieties sold in Missouri. Ahmed Jawadi and Fernando Cervantes Jr. bring us a story with the Springfield News-Leader that says cottage cheese sold at Walmart in 24 states, including Missouri, is currently under a recall, as officials said the cheese may not have been properly pasteurized. Here is what to know and how to check your fridge. Milwaukee-based Saputo Cheese USA Incorporated is voluntarily recalling the cottage cheese due to the possibility of liquid dairy ingredients used in the items not being fully pasteurized, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced on February 25th. The cheese was sold under Walmart's Great Value label between February 17th and February 20th. No illnesses or hospitalizations related to the consumption of the affected cheese have been reported so far. So which products are included? The Walmart cottage cheese products being recalled include Great Value fat-free small curd cottage cheese, 0% milk fat in 24-ounce containers. Great Value low-fat small curd cottage cheese with 2% milk fat in 24-ounce containers. And Great Value small curd cottage cheese with 4% milk fat minimum in 16-ounce containers, 24-ounce containers, and 3-pound containers. So what should you do if you have the recalled cottage cheese? You should not consume it, and you should either throw it out or return it to Walmart for a full refund. Along with Missouri, the cheese was sold in Walmart stores in Alaska, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Iowa, Idaho, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, New Mexico, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Tennessee, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. So what happens if you eat unpasteurized cheese? Well, pasteurization means treated to kill germs, according to the Mayo Clinic. Therefore, cheese that is not properly pasteurized may contain germs that could be dangerous for people with weakened immune systems, older adults, pregnant women, infants, and young children. Excuse me one moment. The VA has picked a new leader for the Veterans Healthcare System of the Ozarks. Dave DeMille, the Springfield News-Leader, says that the Department of Veterans Affairs has appointed Martha Smith as director of the Veterans Healthcare System of the Ozarks, putting her in charge of care for more than 60,000 veterans across Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, according to a community announcement. Smith will manage an $840 million operating budget and oversee services in 22 counties. She is expected to begin the role within 45 to 60 days. The announcement notes she has served as interim executive director of the system since June of 2025. We are excited to bring Dr. Smith on board. Fernando Rivera, interim director for Veterans Integrated Service Network 16, said in the announcement. Her sound leadership and proven experience will be valuable assets for our staff, volunteers, and, most importantly, for the veterans we are honored to serve. Smith brings more than a decade of leadership experience within the VA, most recently as Deputy Director of the Southeast Louisiana Veterans Healthcare System, which operates 9 facilities. She holds a doctorate in educational leadership and a master's degree in hotel and restaurant management from Eastern Michigan University, along with a bachelor's degree in dietetics from Michigan State University. The Veterans Healthcare System of the Ozarks includes the Fayetteville VA Medical Center and 7 community clinics in Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. The system has treated veterans since 1934 and provides primary care, mental health, women's health, pharmacy, specialty care, surgery, social work, and nutrition services. The article ends with a photo of Martha Smith, smiling for the camera and standing in front of a couple of flags, one of which is the American flag on the left. She's wearing a brooch that says, "I care." And here's how to watch 2 Missourians compete on Survivor 50. Ahmed Jawadi and Melina Khan bring us the story with the Springfield News-Leader that says after nearly 26 years and more than 26 years, wow, and more than 700 participants, the milestone 50th season of Survivor is finally here. Survivor 50 marks the largest lineup the show has ever produced, with 24 contestants from previous seasons making up the cast. Among them is Savannah Louie, a former anchor and reporter at KSDK in St. Louis, and the latest winner of the show. Not only that, but Bolivar, Missouri native Benjamin Coach Wade also joins this season's castaways. Here's everything you need to know about watching Louie, Wade, and the rest of the Survivor 50 cast. So when does it air? Survivor's 50th season airs Wednesday, February 25th. Oh, you might have just missed that. At 7 p.m. Central Time. The 3-hour episode included tribe divisions and an introduction to the twists decided by the fans. The season's theme returns to the audience with "In the Hands of the Fans," as fans voted on several factors before the season started. Some of the votes included tribe colors, while others involved advantages and the amount of food the players were given. So how can you watch Survivor this season? Survivor airs on CBS and streams live with a Paramount Plus premium plan. Episodes are available to stream the next day with any Paramount Plus plan. And who is on Survivor 50? Survivor 50 includes 24 castaways covering 23 unique seasons in the show's history, including Jenna Lewis Dougherty, who was on seasons 1 and season 8. Colby Donaldson, who was on seasons 2, 8, and 20. Stephanie LaGrossa Kendrick, who was on seasons 10, 11, and 20. Siri Fields on seasons 12, 16, 20, and 34. Ozzie Luth, who was on seasons 13, 16, 23, and 34. Benjamin Coach Wade from here in Missouri, who was also on seasons 18, 20, and 23. Aubrey Bracco, who was on seasons 32, 34, and 38. Chrissy Hoffbeck, who was on season 35. Christian Hubicki on season 37. Angelina Keeley, also season 37, along with Mike White. Rick Devins, who was on season 38. Jonathan Young, who was on season 42. Dee Valadares, who was the season 45 winner. Competing against that on season 45 was Emily Flippin. Q Burdette from season 46, along with Tiffany Irvin and Charlie Davis, also from season 46. Genevieve Mushaluk from season 47. Camilla Carthagesu, Joseph Hunter, who were on season 48, along with Kyle Frazier, who won season 48. Rizo Velovic, who was on season 49, and Savannah Louie, the Missouri native, who was the season 49 winner. And fans can play too. What to know about Survivor 50 Challenge? The Survivor 50 is also incorporating fans through a new challenge, which CBS has called a, quote, first of its kind national scavenger hunt. For the challenge, 50 immunity idols have been hidden across all 50 states. For fans to find to win prizes, bringing the game to life across the country. The challenge kicked off on January 30th, but is still ongoing. Fans can learn more and sign up for notifications at survivor50challenge.com, and that is survivor50challenge.com. Hillcrest assistant principal is selected as the new principal for Parkview. Marta Meese with the Springfield News-Leader says that Springfield Public Schools selected the next leader of Parkview High School from within the district. The district announced Wednesday, February 25th, that Josh Lawless, current assistant principal at Hillcrest High School, will take on the top role at Parkview. He will step into the job as current principal Megan Brown transitions into a new administrative position within SPS in the upcoming school year, according to an SPS News release. Lawless will take charge at Parkview on July 1st. Following is a picture of Josh Lawless smiling at the camera in a navy blue suit and a white shirt with a white and navy striped tie. Lawless has been at Hillcrest for the past 4 years. Previously, he spent 10 years teaching in the Ozarks School District. During his time in leadership with SPS, Mr. Lawless has demonstrated his effectiveness in implementing professional learning communities that result in increased teacher collaboration, student data analysis, and the sharing of instructional best practices, said Sheila Wynn, Executive Director of High Schools, in the release. Lawless attended Missouri State University for undergraduate and graduate studies in education and administration. According to the release, he is currently enrolled in Southwest Baptist University's doctoral program. I am honored to join the leadership team at Parkview, Lawless said. I believe that building positive relationships is fundamental to creating a safe and supportive school culture. Missouri Senate Committee debates live streaming video of their proceedings. Jason Hancock with the Missouri Independent comes to us with the story out of the News-Leader that says that the Missouri Senate is one of only 2 legislative chambers in the country that does not provide a video live stream of its proceedings. A Senate committee debated a resolution Wednesday, February 25th that would change that, though its prospects remain uncertain. State Senator Mike Moon, an Ash Grove Republican, is sponsoring a rule change that would require the chamber to provide audio and video feeds of committee hearings and floor debate on its website. The Senate currently offers only audio live streams. Following is a photo of Senator Mike Moon as he speaks on the Senate floor this morning. February 27th, 2023. He was wearing a blue suit and tie. Moon noted that the Missouri House, with 163 members and 6 hearing rooms, has offered video live streams for a decade and archives those with recordings on its website. The Senate, with 34 members and 3 hearing rooms, should have no trouble doing the same, he said. It doesn't change how we operate in the Senate, Moon said. It just makes it easier for the people to see what we're doing. It's really about access for everyone. Ron Calzone, a longtime conservative activist and director of Missouri First, told the committee it is crucial that, quote, the people have an opportunity to monitor what's going on in the legislature. Congress is broadcast. The House of Representatives on the other side of the building is broadcast, he said. It just makes sense. But in a chamber that prides itself on tradition, support for switching from audio to video remains unclear, said Senate Majority Leader Tony Luetkemeyer, a Parkville Republican. He noted that the Senate still has a rule prohibiting laptops on the floor, and that an effort 5 years ago to change that and allow senators to receive bills and amendments digitally was derailed by a filibuster. Senators also raised questions February 25th about the cost of Moon's proposal. Moon said he does not believe it would be prohibitively expensive because the Senate already has cameras that record proceedings. The video is available only by request, however. State Senator Mike Sirpio, a Lee Summit Republican, said he worries cameras could encourage grandstanding or campaign-style speeches on the Senate floor. One of the things that concerns me is, and I've been here, this is my 9th year, and so the people have turned over, but there's always a certain number of egos in the Senate, Sierpo said, and I'm just not sure where camera time would make the body a better place. Moon said the Senate already has, quote, theatrics and campaign speeches, and that video live streaming would not make that any worse. After the hearing, Luetkemeyer said he would confer with fellow senators to gauge the support for the change. Ultimately, Moon said, the question is whether the Senate is willing to listen to the people who elected its members. Those who have elected us have asked for the ability to live stream so they can see what we're doing, he said. And now the ball's in our court. Will we listen to our bosses or will we ignore their wishes? Panera unveils its first ever value menu to include some mix and match options. Wish I had known that yesterday. Ahmed Jawadi and Julia Gomez with the Springfield News-Leader tell us that Panera Bread has announced its first ever value menu, which includes soup, salads, and sandwiches. The St. Louis-based restaurant's new mix and match value menu gives customers the option to purchase half a sandwich, half a serving of salad, or a cup of soup, according to a news release. Customers can order 2 to 10 menu items and get 1 free side per order. There are 10 options to choose from, plus a rotating seasonal item. With the mix and match menu, Panera is introducing the first value menu of its kind, one that doesn't require compromise and makes it easy for guests to combine quality, craveable selections into a meal that truly satisfies at a great value, said Panera Bread Chief Marketing Officer Mark Shambura. So when will Panera's value menu be available? It already is. It became available starting Wednesday, February 25th in stores or via PaneraBread.com. And what is included on the value menu? Panera customers can order the following items from the menu. Half sandwiches, such as the Toasted Italiano, which has Black Forest ham, sopressata, provolone, romaine lettuce, red onions, sliced pepperoncini peppers, Greek dressing, and garlic aioli on a French baguette. Or the Toasted Caprese focaccia, which has mozzarella, tomatoes, arugula, basil pesto spread, salt and pepper, and a drizzle of balsamic glaze on a black pepper focaccia. The Bacon Turkey Bravo, which is similar to a club sandwich, contains roasted turkey breast, applewood smoked bacon, aged white cheddar, mixed greens, tomatoes, salt and pepper, and Panera's Bravo sauce on tomato basil miche. The Cranberry Walnut Chicken Salad is a chicken salad made with diced chicken, dried cranberries and walnuts tossed with dressing, topped with crisp mixed greens and vine-ripened tomatoes on sourdough. There are also some some salads such as Caesar, which has romaine lettuce tossed in Caesar dressing and topped with shaved Parmesan, black pepper, and sea salt croutons. The Fuji apple chicken, which is mixed greens and romaine lettuce tossed in a sweet white balsamic vinaigrette. The salad is topped with grilled chicken, grape tomatoes, red onions, toasted pecan pieces, feta, and apple chips. The Ranch Parm BLT features mixed greens and romaine, which are tossed in ranch dressing, then topped with grape tomatoes, applewood smoked bacon, Parmesan, black pepper, sea salt croutons, and a drizzle of green goddess dressing. For soups, they have creamy tomato, which has pear tomatoes pureed with cream and flavored with red pepper and oregano. The soup is topped with black pepper and sea salt croutons. Homestyle chicken noodle, which has homestyle chicken bone broth with white meat chicken, curly egg noodles, sliced carrots, sliced celery, and herbs. And the bistro French onion, savory broth with caramelized onions, sherry wine vinegar gastrique, and sea salt. The soup is topped with cheese, black pepper, and sea salt croutons. Each order will include a single side, and customers can choose between a baguette, chips, or an apple. So, how much does the value menu cost? Each option costs $4.99, but customers must purchase 2 of the options to order from the value menu. Customers will spend at least $9.98, excluding taxes, when ordering from the menu. The company said the Mix and Match value menu is an all-new offering separate from its popular You Pick 2 deal, which will remain as another option for guests to choose from. The Springfield Ballet announces new leaders for its 50th season. Dave DeMille in the Springfield News-Leader says that the Springfield Ballet is ushering in its 50th anniversary season with new leadership, naming Kyler Dibben executive director and elevating Maria Velasquez and Jose Suarez as co-artistic directors, according to a community announcement. Dibben moves into the role after serving as the organization's administrative and financial coordinator, where he managed budgeting, reporting, and grant compliance. The announcement notes that his background in office management, insurance, and financial planning strengthens the ballet's internal operations. Having been with Springfield Ballet since 2024, I've seen the profound impact this organization has on our community. I'm inspired by the generations of young dancers who have gone on to either pursue professional careers in dance or become leaders in our community. I'm honored to lead the organization in its 50th year and excited to work with our community partners to engage and inspire Springfield for generations to come. Following is a photo of Maria Velasquez as she faces sideways and has her head turned over her right shoulder toward the camera. She has long, straight, dark hair and quite beautiful eyelashes. Velasquez and Suarez will shape the company's artistic future as a co-artistic directors. Velasquez, a Springfield Ballet alumna and Nixa native, was promoted from our associate artistic director. She trained at Springfield Ballet before earning a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Ballet, Modern Performance and Choreography from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and has performed with Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Williams Henry Contemporary Dance Company, and Missouri Contemporary Ballet. The leadership transition marks a milestone moment for Springfield Ballet as it prepares for its next chapter of pre-professional training and community engagement. A Citizens Advisory Board discusses a letter alleging its formation violates the Springfield City Charter. Jack McGee with the Springfield Daily Citizen says that in a February 23rd letter to the Springfield City Council, citizen watchdog Linda Simpkins questioned the legality of the 8-member Citizens Advisory Board, which was established to recommend projects for funding from the half-cent Spring Forward SGF sales tax approved by voters in the November 2024 election. The resolution establishing the board, approved by the City Council on January 13, 2025, violates the Springfield City Charter in various ways, Simpkins alleges, including by allowing non-Springfield residents to serve and allowing the board to consist of fewer than 9 members. Specifically, the resolution allows for the board to consist of 7 to 11 members that have resided or worked in the city for at least 1 year prior to their appointment. Meanwhile, the city charter, unless otherwise specified, requires boards to have 9 members, all of whom must have resided in the city for at least 2 years prior to their appointment. While the resolution allows for fewer than 9 members, the City Council originally intended for the board to have 9. However, one of the 9 individuals appointed, Andy Lear, ultimately declined the appointment due to personal reasons. Simpkins also pointed out that although the charter allows boards to elect their own chairperson, the City Council selected a chair for the Citizens Advisory Board, Aaron D'Anastasio. The rest of the board is comprised of Christina Engel, Leslie Forrester, Andy Peebles, Lauren Shantz, Cliff Smart, Becky Voles, and Rusty Worley, who serves as the vice chair. Mayor Jeff Strag, on February 23rd, notified council members that he intends to bring forward a committee referral memorandum for council consideration at the March 9th meeting, quote, in light of some questions regarding the membership of various boards and commissions within the city of Springfield. Springfield City spokesperson Cora Scott said there are no plans to disband the board or pause board activities at this time. That's the action at this point. It's the referral, Scott said, and then conversation will continue from there. Simpkins suggested in her letter that the alleged violations of the city charter could open up the city to litigation and potentially result in the board being nullified from its inception. Simpkins said such a finding could call into question a $30 million allocation to provide the local match required of a restricted state budget earmark for a new convention and event center as recommended by the board and approved by the City Council. Though that scenario may be possible but unlikely, the point is to highlight the risks assumed here, Simpkins said in the letter. I'm perplexed at how a foundational element of the city's constitution since adoption in 1953 was breached. The City Council at its February 23rd meeting approved 3 additional recommendations from the Citizens Advisory Board, including $30 million total over 2 years to the expansion and renovation of the Springfield Art Museum and $10.8 million for various parks, trails, and corridor projects. Simpkins further suggested that the council members who approved the resolution are, quote, potentially at risk of a recall petition for malfeasance, that is, acting outside of their legal authority. Both the resolution establishing the board and appointing its members were approved prior to the election of Mayor Schrag and Zone 4 council member Bruce Adib Yazdi. In addition, Simpkins questioned why the city attorney, Jordan Paul, approved the resolution and suggested he may be subject to disciplinary complaint for violations of the rules of professional conduct. Unfortunately, the greatest damage will come from the resulting fallout from the violation of public trust, Simpkins wrote. Simpkins also questioned what it means to have worked in the city, one of the qualifications of the resolution establishing the board. Does it mean owning a business in the city or having a W-2 issued by a city business? If so, can one live anywhere in Greene County or the state and recommend funding of city projects by a city sales tax that one can't even vote on? Simpkins wrote in part. It appears little thought was given to it other than simply adding a few words. To a layperson like me, it seems haphazard and careless. 2 of the board's 8 members, D'Anastasio and Engel, do not reside within Springfield city limits. D'Anastasio is the executive director of the Hatch Foundation, and Engel is the president and chief financial officer of the Erling Group. Both the Hatch Foundation and the Erling Group are based in Springfield. Simpkins also expressed concern with board members' involvement in other organizations, including the fact that D'Anastasio and Forrester also serve on the Visit Springfield, Missouri Board of Directors, which has played a leading role in efforts to develop a new convention and event center. D'Anastasio's dual membership on these 2 boards presents competing interests, Simpkin wrote. The city's code of ethics for board members said no person can serve 2 masters, nor should he attempt to do so. While it may or may not violate state ethics laws, it certainly has the perception to the public of a conflict of interest, and both should have revealed the conflict and recused from voting. Simpkins also pointed out that several board members have ties to the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce, and that Smart and Lear, although he didn't end up serving on the board, also serve as unpaid members of the nonprofit's Springfield Daily Citizen's Board of Directors, which she characterized as, quote, highly problematic for both the Daily Citizen and the Citizens Advisory Board. Editor's note here, the Springfield Daily Citizen's Board of Directors play no role in day-to-day news coverage. See the Daily Citizen's ethics policy and the board's conflict of interest policy on their website. Ultimately, Simpkins said the alleged violations of the charter demonstrate a failure to appoint board members who are, quote, representative of the community as a whole. However, I think a few council members would agree with me and would like to see boards of diverse representation, Simpkins said. Simpkins concluded the letter by encouraging the city council to discuss the issue in an open meeting and the city manager to review the, quote, competency and credibility of the city attorney. The February 23rd letter follows an earlier letter sent to the city council last week, also authored by Simpkins and signed by other residents, that alleged Strag is overstepping his authority by voting on appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission and suggesting that he is stacking the advisory body with members who are pro-development. The Citizens Advisory Board began its monthly meeting February 25th by discussing Simpkins' letter. A couple of us do not reside within the city limits, D'Anastasio acknowledged. It's something, actually, when I personally applied, I asked about, I just want to make sure that that is resolved, and then also the number of individuals that sit on the board. I think it's important that we are addressing those questions and situations. While noting that board members were selected based on the qualifications outlined in the resolution approved by the council, Deputy City Manager Colin Quigley said the issue was, quote, entirely in the City Council's hands at this point. You continue to serve until you're replaced on the board, like any board, Quigley said. So this board is still seated, and that's a joint decision of City Council. Asked about the possibility of adding a 9th board member, Quigley reiterated that it was up to the City Council. That's also up to the Council, how they address the open seat or how we reconcile that with the charter, Quigley said. D'Anastasio also apologized to the board for voting on the Convention and Event Center funding, noting that she didn't think her membership on the Visit Springfield board would be an issue. I personally from my seat, didn't think that I should recuse myself from the vote for the Convention Center, D'Anastasio said. So I just, again, wanted to apologize to the board if it's believed that I should have, from my shoes. I think I was just looking at it as it was a project being brought forth from the city. I don't own a hotel, or I'm not personally benefiting from it, and honestly just didn't think that it would be a problem. Following is a photo of Springfield City Attorney Jordan Paul as he spoke at a meeting at the Springfield City Council back on Monday, October 7th of 2024. He's wearing a navy blue suit and a purple tie and looks to be having a point of contention with his fingers raised. City Attorney Jordan Paul said he was, quote, having trouble thinking that's a conflict, noting that Visit Springfield is an independent nonprofit organization. Moreover, Paul said the conflict of interest provisions in the city charter pertaining to boards and commissions primarily deals with contracts administered or overseen by a board, which he noted the Citizens Advisory Board does not do. In that situation, the money, that contract, would be administered by the city proper, not by this board, first of all, Paul said. Second of all, I think we generally treat nonprofit board members as not having financial interests if they're not compensated in funds that flow to the nonprofits. So I kind of thought that opinion was relatively tortured from a conflict of interest perspective. Smart, a retired attorney and former president of Missouri State University, told D'Anastasio that she had nothing to apologize for. We wouldn't be on this board if we weren't significantly engaged in the community in dozens of different ways, and that brings, the experience you bring in the work that you do, and all of us do, is tremendously important, A, Smart said. B, I'm not a lawyer anymore. I gave that up. But we're an advisory board, right? We do nothing except give them our opinion, and our opinion is based on our collective experience living in Springfield for decades and working on dozens of things to benefit the city. And my take on when you get attacked by people like this is because we're doing really good work, and I think you should view it as a compliment. Simpkins said in an email to the Daily Citizen that she has, quote, no comment on the problematic position of Smart, but criticized Smart's characterization of her letter as an attack. I believe in civil discourse and the democratic process, Simpkins wrote. He should too. Mobile Wi-Fi hotspots become a hot topic for the Christian County Library. Zoe McIntyre at the Springfield Daily Citizen tells us that the Christian County Library's Board of Trustees kicked off 2026 with a new member and a full slate of new business in the board's first official meeting of the year. During the public comment session and board discussion, trustees and members of the public honed in on the library's collection of mobile Wi-Fi hotspots. Hotspots, which allow devices like phones and computers to connect to wireless internet, have been available for Christian County Library users to check out since 2019, according to research compiled in the board's February 24th packet. Federal and state grants enabled the public library to expand its collection of hotspots during the COVID-19 pandemic. On Tuesday, the board invited members of the public to share their opinions on hotspots. Trustees are considering changes to the checkout policy and the possibility of retiring the technology from the library's connection, a discussion that prompted several audience members to chime in after the public comment session had ended. The board also welcomed newcomer Kristen Rousell, who is replacing former trustee Diana Braziel in the Ozark area seat. The Christian County Commission unanimously appointed Rousell to the library board from a pool of 6 applicants in a January 15th meeting. When the community reached out and told me some of the things that were going on in the library, it was shocking and repulsive, and I'll be honest, protecting children is my main reason and I'm not afraid to say it, Rousell said February 24th. Of course I care about everything else, but that is the main reason I'm here today. According to her application to the board, Rousell is a legal assistant, mother, and Christian County resident of 45 years. Her son Brett leads a Turning Point USA chapter in Christian County that includes more than 130 members when he spoke to the Daily Citizen in September 2025. After welcoming Rousell, the board held officer elections, voting to maintain members in their current officer positions. John Garrity as treasurer, Mary Hernandez de Carl as secretary, and Kelly Roberts as president. There are currently 37 mobile Wi-Fi hotspots available for checkout from the Library of Things, costing the district $40 a piece per month, according to Garrity. He presented numerous pieces of information to the board in support of his argument that the library should consider updating its hotspot policy or dropping the technology altogether. The library is no longer receiving state funding for hotspots. Broadband access is increasing nationwide with services such as Starlink and satellite. Major cell phone manufacturers are including hotspot capabilities on new phones, and low-income families may find other options for inexpensive internet service. The library's 2026 financial report, which is currently unaudited, indicates the district spent $1,237.87 on its hotspot collection last month and budgeted a total of $22,701 for the hotspots for 2026. According to research compiled by the board, the hotspots are routinely accessed by library users, with 329 different checkouts in 2025. The trustees' opinions remain divided on the current hotspot policy. I think that we're seeing there is additional research needed, Board President Echo Schneider said. Schneider, who represents the southern part of Christian County, noted that it is important to consider the residents the hotspot the policy may serve. I drive 30 minutes to get to a library branch and have rural neighbors who, based on the geography of where they live, are unable to get internet service, she said. And we thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.